Hey guys, welcome back to Funny Blunt Truth. We have the awesome Devon Larratt back on the podcast. Want to say hi to the listeners, Devon?
Hey guys, how you doing? Devon Larratt, world champion arm wrestler.
The man. Yeah, for you guys listening, that video was up between you and Matt Mask. It was for the WAL finals, right, Devon, this year?
Yep, that's right. 225. 2 Canadians in the finals once again, you know?
Yep. That's you and Matt have quite a little bit of a rivalry there, don't you?
Hey, I love Matt, and he's consistently been getting second place. And the thing I love about Matt is he really, really wants to beat me, like, so badly.
Yeah.
I kind of really enjoy that.
Yeah. Competition that breeds greatness, so that's I'm sure it brings the best out of you.
Yeah, and Matt's really gifted, he's actually, I think he's even a little bit taller than myself. Mm-hmm. He's got a tremendous hand, and his arm wrestling principles are really, really solid. Like, he trains smart, and it is an honor to get to, pull against him in the finals. And off the table, I really love the guy, but on the table, every chance I get to poke him, I will take it.
Oh, I see it. That must give you an advantage, like, on the table, like the little mental game,
Well, yeah, Matt just can't figure me out. I don't know. Matt, what is the matter with you, man? I've given you so many opportunities, and seriously, I can't give you much more. And you know what? I think that I'm done pulling Matt. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of beating him. I've decided I'm gonna start eating a lot of baked potatoes, and I'm gonna start going after the big juggernauts from all around the planet.
Yeah, I definitely was gonna touch on that on the episode. So you're pretty much done with 225, huh?
Well, here's the thing. I would pull a weight class if I thought that there was enough glory in it. And the WAL has been just amazing. Like, we were on ESPN, we got world broadcast. The level was high enough. I think I could pull 225 indefinitely.
Yep.
It's where I naturally sit. But if that's gone and we're in a new chapter of arm wrestling, and that looks like, kind of like it did, more old school, calling guys out, big bets, self-promotion. Nobody cares about weight in that world. In that world, it's, can you beat this guy? So I think that's where we're at right now, and that means that I have to eat baked potatoes.
So for the listeners, for those of you that don't know, Devon won the both left and right hand at that recent event. Like I said, it's on YouTube. He beat Matt Mask. So Devon, but WAO, they have a 225 division, which is heavyweight, right? And then they have like super heavies.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and this is a common division in in most leagues. There's a split somewhere around there. Yeah, whether it's 231, 242, 220, 225.
So with the move to 225, why did you even go to that division? Did you feel like the guys were like it was too much of a gap? Like they were too big? Cause I seen you like just crush monsters.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. So I've always weighed around 200. I mean, when I was 20 years old, I was already weighing in at 220. Okay. So, when I first was kind of competitively arm wrestling, I was in my weight category, kind of started to dominate my weight category. And so I started to go after bigger guys. And I could always pull in the weight class, but the thing is you're always kind of pushing yourself to see where you kind of top out at. And that kind of brought me to pulling super heavy weights. I was still, the most I ever weighed in competition was 247. And, you normally saw me about 240, 245.
Yeah.
What happened was I ended up developing a chronic injury in my right arm. And when that happened, I found that it was a nice shallow pond that I could kind of recover in the weight class of 225. You know, it's a safer place. The truth is, you know, you enter a tournament where, you know, guys are 6'10", 400 pounds, 500 pounds, you know, like it hurts, man.
Yeah.
It hurts. So, you know, for the cost and for, you know, the consideration of my career and the longevity that I want to have in the sport, I chose to kind of live in that weight class for a few years.
Yeah. Yeah. And another reason for you moving up, is it just like simply the challenge? Because like, if I'm not mistaken, you just pretty much dominate 225, you know, so it must get boring for you.
But, you know, there are guys at 225 who can give me a good challenge. But the thing is to get that to happen requires some serious promotion and orchestration. Like there's some European guys at 225 that I would love to pull. Russian guy, Vitaly Lalatin, this tall, skinny guy. The exact opposite, this short Bulgarian kid, Sasha Andreev, Italian guy, Hermes Gasparini. These are three names, and there's more. There's a lot of elite guys, and in North America, you know, there's Matt and I, there's Ron Bath, John Brzenk,
Barboza, right?
Right, exactly. But the problem is to get us together is it's not easy to do. But I can have great matches. Like I can have really challenging matches with great big monsters basically anytime I want. So it is a lot for the challenge, you know?
Yeah. Back to WAL, Devon. Are you able to talk about like what happened with the whole cancellation? Because I saw, you know, for the listeners, like you had posted a video where it was like really commendable too and cool. You were gonna still make the best out of the situation and just like pass the hammer, like if you lost. Can you touch on that at all?
Well, I can give you from my perspective. I don't have a lot of details. That hammer deal is still on the table, by the way. You know, when I get beat by a heavyweight, they're taking that hammer. If we can arrange a match, I will pass that heavyweight hammer around. I think it's a cool idea. And who knows, maybe I'll say forget it and give it to the next guy who beats me, whatever. But I think that there's still potentially a small amount of dust to settle from the WAL, but I think for all intents, I think we're done. I think I know.
Damn it.
I hate that those words even come out of my mouth.
That sucks.
I know it sucks. The weird thing is to me, like, I really just don't get it. So that's why I don't want to speak for anybody because I do not have the answers. I'll tell you a few things. That I feel pretty confident that I can say. There's a lot of resentment for, you know, what happened with the WAL and Steve Kaplan and the WAL team. But I'll tell you, in all my years of working with Steve, I've got nothing but love for the guy and for the WAL, what they brought to the sport. It was a fantastic era in arm wrestling. And I've said it before, but for all the arm wrestlers, for whatever reason, that decided not to attend the WAL events, I just encourage you that next time there's a big league, a big promoter that steps in like this, do everything you can to get on that boat, because you don't know when it's going to happen again. Steve, I think, was working like a maniac to try and make amazing things happen in the sport. And I think that the deck of the house of cards just kind of fell apart about 4 weeks or 5 weeks before the finals. It's high level business stuff that I don't really fully understand. But I mean, from the place where I am on the ground, I feel like we were so close to really making his vision, Steve's vision, about the league really come to life. And I think that the positive thing is that all the work that the WAL did, there's a lot of inertia there in the sport of arm wrestling. So I think so long as guys just keep on loving what they do, I think that we're going to have even greater opportunities. And I still have a small degree of hope that Steve has more life in him to see this league come to, its pinnacle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That bums me out because I somehow stumbled across like arm wrestling. I became a fan, and it's so similar to like mixed martial arts. That's like my other favorite sport, where MMA at one point was like so like underground and like nobody knew what the heck I was talking about, and I would be so excited about like matches and certain things. And I feel like arm wrestling is like right on the fringe, like the line of just being super mainstream. And it's like
that same thing, right?
Oh man. And then you guys are on ESPN, like all this exposure, and WAL, such a, awesome production. And then to see it go under, that sucks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly don't think that this is the end in any way. And I think that there's a lot of people right now, who are scrambling to put together a lot of really exciting stuff. And in a lot of ways, this can be viewed as a really positive thing. I mean, I look at it like, you had this giant head of the WAL, and everybody was starting to get in line. Everybody really was. Every year that progressed, it was gathering steam, and I feel like we've maybe cut that head off, but it's like the Hydra, and I feel like there's all these people right now just organizing stuff. Yeah.
I hope so, because you guys are like just tremendous athletes, man. I really admire the sport. Like, it's not just, and again, like, it's like a lot of parallels to like mixed martial arts. Like, people used to view it as like human cockfighting, but people don't understand there's so much to it. And the same thing with arm wrestling. So much technique to it. It's not just like a super strong guy versus another brute. I mean, you're like a prime example, because you're a big guy, but like you best like monsters, and it's like technique,
Yeah, it is. It's a miniature fight of the hands. And that's what makes it really, really, that's why people really love to do it, because a lot of our guys have that same, they're searching that same thing that you get from fighting. I used to fight a lot as well. And I'll tell you,
I can see that.
I mean, I've done a lot of different types of fighting, but I used to do a lot of martial arts. And there was a point in my career where I kind of realized that I could go pro. I think that I could have gone pro, like become a, I don't know. I mean, I like to think I could have become a UFC guy.
I believe it. You're an athlete. I mean, you're super athlete.
But one of the things that kind of made me, really question, do I want to go down this road, is all the head trauma that is kind of inevitable in the fight game if you go to a higher level.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of my friends who are fighters, have just terrible concussions.
Gary Goodrich.
Yes, exactly. Oh, great. Like he's sad. A great dude, great fighter. But I just don't know if that price is something that I really want to pay for prize fighting. And but arm wrestling is different. It is fighting. You get very similar sensations, but my spine's fine. I'm always going to be able to walk, and I'm not getting my bell rung. So
right.
I can do this sport until I'm dead, until I'm 80 years old, 90 years old. I feel like you can do this game. It's so accessible, like anybody can arm wrestle.
Yeah, with the whole head trauma thing too, like you, Devin, I got some experience too, like in like martial arts and stuff, and I'm very competitive, and I'm thinking along the same lines as you, like I don't want to get hit in the head, so like I was thinking maybe doing like jujitsu, like strictly jujitsu, because you don't get dinged in the head and you get that competitive thing out of you.
Love it.
That's why I like to lift weights, because it's a fight against the weights,
Right. It always kind of progresses. Like if you enter the fight game, it's like you want to climb to those higher and higher parts of the fight game. And in my mind, if you become a fighter, like, I mean, you want to go to the UFC, right?
Yep. That's the show.
That right? Like, that's the way I look at it. So, and if you like, as much as I can love jujitsu, and you know, the grappling and the chokes and the arm bars and staying away from the head trauma. I mean, if I really want success, eventually I'm going to the UFC.
Yeah. You know what's funny, Devon, like it will be so interesting to have you transition to like jujitsu because of like your ridiculous like strength. You know what I mean? Like your static like arm strength. Like how would people armbar you? You know, like I just don't see it happening. Like,
you know, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, I mean, we can laugh and say it's funny, but I mean, knowing what I know as a specialized athlete, like you can say, oh, I know this guy, actually a guy I'm going to be arm wrestling here. I'm going to be arm wrestling this massive, beastly arm wrestler. He's like 350 pounds. He can curl probably some ridiculous amount of weight. And to the outside, somebody can say, oh, you know, how are you ever going to pin this guy's arm when he can curl, you know, your body weight, you know? But like anything, you know, it's really specialized. And I mean, I used to fight for years. I mean, you probably don't know that, but I did judo as a kid, you know, all through my formative years. I fought. I was a fight instructor with the Canadian Armed Forces for a long time. I did a lot of fight camps. I never went pro, but I did a lot of fighting. And I got armbarred. I got armbarred by little dudes who really.
It's freaking amazing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, my experience too, like, you know, I grew up, I fought before, like in the street, you know, like we have fights, you know, growing up and everything. And you think you're like tough, you know, but I remember like one of my first experiences in the gym, it was the same thing. I was just getting like tapped out, like with a triangle choke out of nowhere. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, what the heck is this? Yeah. And, it was like this unassuming kid and it was just like, it was amazing.
But he's been loving it, right? He's been loving that game.
Yep. But speaking of monsters, so this is a dream match in the arm wrestling world. Everybody wants to see it. Okay, awesome. You know where I'm getting at with this.
Of course I do. It's all I think about as I'm, you know, eating, you know, half pounds of butter in the morning. Like,
nice.
You know, do you want more bread? Yes, I do.
Yes, please. So I got a few questions with that. So for the listeners who don't know what I'm talking about, there's this, I believe he's from Ukraine. He's Ukrainian, Denis Cyplenkov.
Yeah, I consider him a Russian, but
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was born in Ukraine, but he wears a Russian shirt. Okay.
This super jacked monster Russian arm wrestler. You guys Google him, Denis Cyplenkov. The guy, he looks like, you know, I mean this with all due respect, a freak. Just super jacked.
Real life Incredible Hulk.
The Hulk, for real, exactly. His hands are like ridiculous. But I'm not kissing up. I believe in you, Devon. Like I seen you take out big dudes. I definitely see you taking that match, and it's like it's a dream match. But okay, so I have a few questions. What would be your ideal weight to take him on?
Well, geez, how about 400 pounds? Can you get me 400 by November 20th? You know,
oh man, that's a lot of Swiss Miss cakes and.
I think I'm just gonna keep eating. I used to do this like before for the last 4 years. I've been eating well. You know, I've been eating what I should eat. You know, I've been healthy, but that's not what you do when you're trying to be as strong as you can be. You just eat everything. Like people talk about diets and listen. If you're not interested in how you look and you're only interested in top end strength, if something's in front of you, you eat it.
Yeah, like none of that chicken and asparagus, right?
No, listen, if there's a chocolate in front of you, you eat it. If there's a cake in front of you, you eat it. If there's chicken in front of you, you eat it. You just eat. You just eat as much as you can until people get angry at you. You know?
Do you think there's a point for you where it'll be the weight gain will take away from your arm wrestling? I mean, like, what if you went up to like 280? Is that like absurd for you?
That is absurd for me. So the heaviest I've competed is 247. The heaviest I've ever been in my life was 253. And that was on a tour where I was being fed like a king and training like a machine. And I was training my whole body. So I had legs and, back and chest and everything. So 253 was the biggest you've seen. Could I get bigger? At this point in my life, being 42, I'd probably be just kind of more fat.
Okay.
But I don't think, look, in arm wrestling, what you really want is strength and power, along with your technique. But physically, if you can add strength and power, that's always what you want to do above everything else. I mean, I don't think it's like, oh, Devon, you got too big for that match. I don't think that I'm ever going to think or hear those words. I'll be as big as I can be. But if I could approach 250, I think that'd be fantastic. I don't know if it's possible. I haven't tried to get big since like 2012.
Yeah.
So.
You look pretty big. I think it was Arm Wars. It was this one big older guy, Lucas. You look pretty big there, if I'm not mistaken. And I saw another match with Travis Badgett.
Same day. That's the same day. Okay. Yeah, that was December 2010.
All right, that makes sense. You must have been like 240, right? Like, I mean,
I was probably like 245. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you definitely look bigger.
Yep.
So, okay, I don't know if you want to get into his weaknesses, but what can you say about like his strengths? What do you see in him besides being freakishly strong?
Exactly. I mean, you just have to look at the guy, and it's very clear what you're dealing with. I mean, he's probably the most mesomorphic human that I have ever seen in my life. He's 6'2" or 6'3", and he looks like a midget. So
yeah, he's super thick. Like something's going on there.
Super thick, bones. So,
oh man. So,
I mean, I'm sure he's got some really good top end. But a lot of times when you want to find somebody's weakness, you really don't have to go much further than looking at their strength.
Yeah.
Right. And because a lot of times those things are really exchangeable, like some strength that can also lead to, it can give you some good info. He's strong. He's way too strong. He's way too strong. I'm sure that things come too easy for him, and he hasn't had to suffer much on the table. I'm sure he hasn't had to learn as much as the guys who started doing it when they were kids, or the guys who started doing it, and who are weaker. So I'm hoping that his technique is not quite as refined. I'm hoping that he has a lot of faith in his strength and lets me kind of play an efficiency game with him, But I mean, these aren't surprises. Anybody who knows arm wrestling knows that I'm going to try and extend this match.
Yeah. Dragging him into deep water.
Exactly. And I think that if his top end is good enough where he can kind of finish me quickly, that'll be his victory. And if I can just stop those surges, it's going to be like he's the biggest bull at the Calgary Stampede. And I just got to stay on for 7 seconds,
Yeah.
And if I stay on for 7 seconds, I win.
Yeah, that is going to be an amazing freaking match. How close have you guys come before of making this happen? Has it like fell through last minute?
I feel like, there's been some. This match is now set to happen because everything's now in place. See, so in 2008, I became world champion of the open weight division. And he was at that point, 2008, 9, 10, he was rising. He was rising to his kind of current stature. Okay. But at that point, we were having a hard time setting up the match because at that point I was doing all my defenses in one-on-one. And I think that they really wanted me to go and do a tournament against him.
Yep.
But I didn't really have a lot of interest in that. And he didn't have a lot of interest at that time in facing me one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to say that's probably the main reason it didn't happen. Then there came a period where I became injured, okay, around 2013. And I just wasn't game for the right-hand match. I knew, like, it just wouldn't happen. I just couldn't beat him. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have been a match. So we were trying to do it left-handed. But I think that for whatever reason, we weren't able to make a left-hand match happen. I know that I did some offers that there was a translation issue. I don't really know why the match did not happen. We had a $50,000 offer for a match. We had a $10,000 offer for a match. Mm-hmm. But
that's good money.
It's definitely good enough financial incentive. But now, okay, WAL's, kind of sinking has now massively opened up the potential for this match. I don't have that locked in big event that's going to pay me enough to keep me away from this kind of excitement now.
Yep.
So I've said that I want the match. Denis has said that he wants the match as well. So that right there, that's the biggest hurdle. So Denis saying that he wants to pull me, now the door is open. Already talked to the Professional Arm Wrestling League. I know that there is a potential for this match to happen the 20th of November in Poland. Okay. It's still the final details have got to get drilled down, but I believe at this point, if it does not happen at that date, it will happen. It's going to happen really soon, because I'm all in on this match. I would love to do it. So that's all it takes right there.
The arm wrestling Super Bowl right there. I think it'll even bring in casuals, people who are not even like into the sport like that.
It's an exciting match.
Oh man, it'll be like, for East people who don't know you, huh?
East versus West, right?
Yeah, East versus West. It's like and you're not small by any means, but it's like a David and Goliath kind of thing, technique versus power. So, I'm really excited for that. That's awesome.
I think we're good representations of our individual cultures,
Yeah, within the sport, right?
Yeah. I think it'll be really, really, and I'll tell you, I don't know. I was gonna try and keep this a secret, but I'm really gonna win.
Nice.
I'm gonna win.
I believe you, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind. It's funny because you see comments. Because he has his fans and you have yours and you have your supporters and they like kind of bicker and you see it like on YouTube and stuff like that. And it's just funny, man. It's really funny. A lot of people just kind of go by visual, like size, like, oh, he's so jacked. But I have all confidence in you. You're just you're the man. You're the man, Devon.
It's gonna be amazing. I can't wait.
It is.
I'm dreaming about it.
All right, Devon. So I want to get into like another topic. So the strap. So for you guys listening that you don't know what this is, in arm wrestling, there's a tool used when guys like slip grip. It's a strap. It goes over the hands. And I've seen videos where you have like a new design or you're working on something. Can you talk about the issues with the current strap design?
Well, the strap has gone through a few phases. The strap is designed to keep our hands together when we arm wrestle. If both guys are doing a technique where they're kind of targeting the other person's fingers and where they're trying to make the other guy hold on, the slip is inevitable. Your hands are going to come apart. Yep. So what the strap is there for is to keep you together no matter what. You can't escape. So that's the first thing it has to do. It has to fully bind you so that you cannot break your grip.
And it benefits the power guy too, right? Am I mistaken?
I hear people say that benefits the power guy. I don't want to generalize quite like that, because arm wrestling, favors the power guy.
Okay.
Like if you're stronger, that's an advantage in the strap or outside of the strap. You will find guys who prefer the strap.
Yep.
You will find guys who prefer to be out of the strap.
Mm-hmm. But, so you can still use hand techniques in a strap then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, there's tons of stuff going on in that strap. It's not some simple tractor pull. It does change the game a little bit. Like if you want to be a good strap puller, you have to get in that strap and pull. I mean, the other thing about the strap is it has to be fair.
Okay.
And now this is something that the arm wrestling world has kind of struggled with over the last decade or so, because the last decade, I would say that the technical depth of knowledge in the sport has become very wide, okay? Whereas, 20 years ago, there was a bunch of experts. And now it's like everybody knows so much. I mean, it's the same kind of thing that happened in martial arts,
Yep.
And so we are all very well aware of who has the advantages where. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up with a really fair system to make the strap even for both competitors.
So not to cut you off there, but it's something to do with the buckle, right? Like
yes, that's right.
What side it's on?
Yeah, it's not so much that the buckle itself is an issue, but the buckle is where the strap gets tightened.
Okay.
And it's in this tightening process that a wily and intelligent arm wrestler can take advantage of the situation very greatly. When that strap is being tightened, basically one hand is being pulled downwards and the other hand is being pulled upwards. And that height generated in the tightening process can secure advantages, for when they say go. Yeah. I mean,
that's the post, right? Is that the term?
Well, the post is a pressure that you're going to put on a guy's fingers. But any way you cut it, having your hand pulled down is generally going to negatively affect any technique that you want to apply to somebody. Okay. Post, hook, press, whatever. There are exceptions to this, but very generally, the further past and the further out you can get on somebody's hand, the more advantages you have.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is there are double buckle systems out there. A couple guys have made a bunch of different versions, which do neutralize the buckle advantage, which is really fantastic. But the thing is administratively, they're just a little bit more costly to make, and they haven't been widely accepted by the arm wrestling community as of yet. Just because the original strap it's like a 99% solution. It's the way we now. It's pretty good. It's a very small advantage, but people are still struggling. That people want to be perfect. So we do have a system now that's really fast and fair, and I'm going to be running with it here in Canada, and I'll be pushing it at the events that I'm in charge of.
So this new strap, I mean, this is like your design, right? I mean, that you're pushing out there, like. For the most part,
I don't want to pretend like there's an original thought in my head, really, because I steal everybody's ideas and just put them together.
Nice.
We had an issue of there was already a guy who made the double buckle idea. Okay. He's a great guy from Bulgaria. The name's escaping me right now, but really, really smart guy from Bulgaria came up with this double buckle system. And what we had coming up is we were supposed to be live on ESPN. Okay. And so WAL started to struggle with this because being a live show, we didn't want to have any dead airtime. And the strap, even by a good referee, takes about 15, 20 seconds to throw on, even if you're fast with it.
Yeah.
Right. And they didn't want that in a live show. They wanted that thing, to be right on. So they came up with this idea of a single loop strap, which, I knew was going to be a disaster because I knew that you could come out of it very easily. So it would, you wouldn't meet the first criteria of a strap, which is,
not to cut you off, but did you pull Michael Todd with that design? Because I remember I saw a match where like you guys slipped out of it.
Oh, no. So what we did is, so you can climb out of a strap. You can. It's very hard to do, but you can climb out of a strap, and it'll happen against guys who have good flop wrist tactics. Flop wrist or king's movers kind of open themselves up so that a guy who's really just trying to gain advantage you can get out of that strap. So what happened was, at that point, that was like 2011, I think. So at that point, we weren't even using the fairer strap wrap. So at that point, we were still just wrapping the old way, which is really archaic now when you think about it. But all they did was they put on the one strap and then they put on a second strap. So we were double strapped.
Okay. Yeah, that match was crazy, man. That was a great match. That was a really great match.
I love to arm wrestle Michael Todd.
He's so intense.
He's so intense.
He's such an intense dude. He's super fun to watch.
He's crazy. And you know, like, and it's exciting because he's going for a world title as well. He's, that's a great arm wrestler. If you want to see arm wrestling, watch Michael Todd.
Oh man. And his personality is great for the sport because he's such a character. It seems that way, you know, he gets fired up, like, you know,
really fired up,
screaming at people and hitting the table.
Yeah. He falls in love and cries and, you know, everything all like within the matter of like a couple seconds.
Yep. Him and Travis Bajan is a character too, from what I've seen. He's a big time trash talker.
Love it, right? He's a smart, charismatic guy. He can make a situation go his way. I don't know how he does it. I just, you know, there's a lot you can learn from Travis Bajan.
I saw this wild match between you and Underwood. It was crazy. Like he kept like doing elbow fouls, and for the guys, for the people listening, correct me if I'm wrong, Devon, but it's, you know, it's like when your elbow comes off the pad, and you know, he was he just kept committing like fouls, and it seemed like the matches are getting just dragged out, and eventually you got him, but that was a crazy match.
That was, I feel like I had the world stacked against me that night. So I had to arm wrestle Richard Lupkes when he was like the number one contender. Then I had to arm wrestle Tim Bresnan.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right after that.
Another huge dude.
And then I had Don Underwood. Whereas Don had one match with Yoshi Kanai, blew Yoshi's bicep on the first hit. So he had one match. And we're talking, the normal format is 6 rounds. Okay. So, and then he arm wrestled Travis for like 2 rounds before Neil Pickup shut the match down because they were making such a, you know, they were just jawing each other and they weren't even arm wrestling. And so I came into that match, you know, kind of really beat up.
Worn.
I was really worn. We were doing this, you know, they had 8 of the best super heavyweights in the world at that time gathered in Las Vegas. And that was the final match of that event. And, yeah, I vowed after that never to do another format like that again in my life.
Yeah. I mean, when you're that fatigued, though, Devon, I mean, I could imagine that the risk of injury is higher, right? I mean,
it's too high. It's too high. I would tell every arm wrestler to avoid that format when you're competing at that level.
Yeah.
You know, when you're at world level, you do one match. You do one match with one, like you do one series with one guy. You don't do like a whole bunch. You're going to get injured, especially if you're the type of arm wrestler who's really, really going for it and maybe doesn't know how to not go for it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to put everything on the line and you're going to get damaged. You're going to get damaged.
Yeah. That tournament, like style, it's like, is it really the best arm wrestler winning, or is it more of like a chance thing? You know, I guess it depends how the matches went, the previous ones.
If you're talking about tournament format, now that was a little bit different than tournament format. That's what they call battleground format. Okay, battleground is a series of super matches.
Okay,
in kind of like a single elimination tournament format. Okay, that's battleground.
Okay.
Now, tournament format, to find out who the best guy is, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of debate on what that looks like. Some people think that you need to be able to prove yourself in a tournament. Mm-hmm. But the problem with a tournament is if it's not seeded correctly, you have a very high chance of, one guy getting a much tougher road, et cetera. So there's a lot of excuses that can happen in a tournament, a lot. Mm-hmm. And while I do say that it is impressive to beat a lot of different people, there used to be this claim that the tournament pullers are different than the best supermatch pullers. I just don't really think that's true. Mm-hmm. I think you see the same guys winning in both formats. Mm-hmm. And I think that just when it comes to excuses, there's no excuses when it's one-on-one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's him and I, and there's really very little that you can say, on why you didn't have success. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If I have a tournament, I've got a whole bunch of reasons. I've got a whole bunch of things that I can complain about, yep. And it diminishes a little bit sometimes the champion. Mm-hmm, it can diminish him because there's all these problems.
Yeah, because people start making excuses for why some guy lost and this and that, and
there's value in both. I think that kind of the feeding ground for kind of the elite level mm-hmm. can be tournament based. I think a large amount of arm wrestling can be tournament style. And I think that once you get up to a certain level, where you're ranked to some degree, I think that it's probably in your best interest to start seeking out the guys in front of you in one-on-one format. If that's what your goal is. I mean, there's a lot of prizes that you can chase in this world, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Devon, I mean, you've been very gracious with your time. I won't keep you on here too much longer, but we touched on injury. To my knowledge, it's a relatively safe sport. I mean, what are the odds of actually getting injured if you use proper technique?
Well, I think that as far as sports go, it is very safe. Mm-hmm. You do have the occasional muscle tear. Okay, so guys blow their shoulder or their pec or their bicep. But mm-hmm. I'll tell you, there's normally other factors involved with these injuries, like you have a pre-existing injury. Mm-hmm. What you do see is you see a chronic sort of manifestation of something, typically in the elbow or the shoulder over the course of a career. Mm-hmm. But, when you compare it to most sports, I think it's very, very safe.
Yeah. And unlike other sports, you got guys, competing at the highest level, like Brzezinski was 50 or something and still kicking ass. I don't know if he's retired now, but.
The guy that I always love to talk about is Crazy George Zakowicz. Okay. I don't know if you've heard that name before, but
no.
So when you think about the population of the planet,
yep.
and you think 80 kilos, like about 175 pounds,
okay.
there is a lot of people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people. So when you are the best in that weight category,
yep.
You're really good. You're really good at what you do. Mm. And the best guy in the world is a 70-year-old garden gnome looking dude from Canada. Yeah, 70.
Damn.
70 years
That's crazy.
Old in a combat sport, leading the way.
That's the definition of, and I don't mean disrespect for this, but old man strength. That's ridiculous.
It's totally ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. You get this 25, 22-year-old Russian cyborg, raised in the Sports Institute, yep. Drilling all day long. Mm-hmm. And you got this fat dude with a big mustache showing up 70 years old. You wouldn't know. And nobody is beating this guy.
That's crazy. I have to see some of his matches now. Yeah. That is crazy.
Right. And to me, it's such motivation.
Yeah.
So now I know from his example that I can do this sport as long as I want in my life. And to me, that makes it really special. It makes it a really special sport.
Yeah. So I was going to kind of get into that. So, as far as guys that want to get into the sport, so basically is it ever too late to try to start?
No, it's never too late. And I mean, look, and it's never too early either. So you can get involved as a kid. But yeah, I mean, we've had guys come in quite late, and reach like elite levels. Okay. So no, it's never too late. Just know that if you come into the sport late, you're going to have the first couple of years are going to be really challenging to you. One of the deterrents in arm wrestling is it's a unique type of pain. Okay. It's not like you went to the gym, pounded out like the most ridiculous leg workout that you've ever had. And like, oh, I can't walk for a couple of days. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
It's not like that. It's not like that. It's like you have like, now this is at the beginning, when you have like that crazy arm wrestling workout where you're like in the hook nice and deep and you're getting opened up slowly, but you're trying to not let it happen. You do that for like, a good solid arm wrestling session. And then like the next day or like 2 or 3 days after, you like throw a ball or you pick up something heavy or you move quick, and the pain is something like comparable to like, childbirth or something like that.
Oh my God. What in the hell?
Something that not even a woman could understand.
You see, that's crazy because I've lifted weights like my whole life pretty much. And like, I know tendonitis pain. Yeah. I know bone pain, like, in your forearms from curls. Yeah. But something like that, that's crazy.
It's the tendons and connective structures. They're gonna adapt. And when they're adapting, they are gonna let you know in a way. They're gonna talk to you really loud. Yeah, like I remember like back in like 95 or something like that. And at this point I'd already been arm wrestling a long time, but I mean not super crazy.
Okay.
And I arm wrestled at the Canadian Nationals, and then there was an after party. I arm wrestled all night at the after party, and then we rented a houseboat, and we arm wrestled the whole next day. And my arms were like hamburger. I came back home, and like 3 days later, I went to this fight club on base, and I started fighting, and the pain hit me so hard and so suddenly. I had to leave. I was vomiting. And
holy crap.
Crying on the ground. It was so bad. So
damn.
Yeah, so it's a bit like, and these are the types of things. If you want to be an arm wrestler, these are the types of things you may have to work through at the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
So it is a deterrent for some people. Some people are like, I'm not in for this. But for those who make it through that, you're gonna be gifted a type of strength that few people ever really get to understand.
Damn. So that basically weeds out those who really want it and those that don't,
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be a little bit special to become a pro arm wrestler.
Yeah. That's crazy. Here goes a big question, Devon. So would you ever consider running your own league one day?
I'm in the process of doing that as we speak.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah. Like there is no better representative for arm wrestling than you. That's awesome.
I'm gonna be involved in arm wrestling until I die, whether it's competing, promoting, and the more that I get involved, the more I want to promote and share this sport with other people. So I'm going to try and I've got a lot of ideas that I'm implementing right now that kind of shape the sport to a way that's fair and I think is what everybody in their roots really want to experience in the sport of arm wrestling.
Damn, that's awesome, Devon. I wish you all the best with that. I hope everything works out for you. So I just got a couple of more questions for you. Like I said, you've been awesome with your time. Really appreciate it. You're like the best. So arm wrestling in the Olympics. What do you think about that?
I think it's great.
Yeah, obviously, right?
Yeah, of course. If we can make it to the Olympics, that's fantastic. I think that our main obstacle is I'm not involved in any of that kind of level of promotion, but when I hear rumors of the Olympic Committee wanting to cut sports like wrestling.
Oh, that's just
right. You heard that?
Criminal. That is criminal,
isn't it? Right? It's
my God! What are you doing?
You're gonna cut the 100-meter dash? You're gonna cut weightlifting?
Insane.
Right. I mean, I feel like arm wrestling certainly has a place there, just especially due to its accessibility for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, you can arm wrestle. Mm-hmm. I think it's certainly an Olympic type of sport.
For sure.
I wonder if the Olympics has room for us. If they do, it would be a success.
I think so, because they have the weirdest, quote, sports in there. Like they could squeeze arm wrestling in. Arm wrestling is awesome.
Hey, somebody from the Olympic Committee? Give him my number. I'll
work on that.
Yeah. Right.
So let's see. All right, Devin. Here goes a random last question for you. This is like random because it's going off topic. But what's the single best arm wrestling workout that you could recommend for competitors and people, or maybe people getting into it? If you can only do one, what would it be?
Just one workout. Well, I'd say whatever workout that you're doing right now, just do it harder.
Okay. That cracks me up because I follow you on social media and your posts kill me. They're so funny because they're so short and to the point. It'll be like, whatever, 7:30 my place, bring the pain. Or come harder, like.
Same thing, only harder, right?
Yeah, same thing, only harder. Like, hilarious. Cracks me up.
It's all in the wrist, man. That's what you got to know. Arm wrestling is all in the wrist. Yeah.
So, Devin, anything, you got cooking? Do you want people to visit any sites, or, where can fans reach you?
Well, I think if you just follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I'm going to do my best to kind of use that as the platform to which I launch all my stuff in the future. So everything that's significant, I will at some point announce through one of those things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And your YouTube, I follow your YouTube channel. You have great content up there. I mean, like from training to just funny stuff to thoughts about the sport. So for the guys listening, you listeners, check out Devon Larratt's YouTube channel and subscribe to that. It's pretty awesome.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Oh man, thank you, Devin. I mean, it's a pleasure. You're just so awesome and cool, down to earth, and I really enjoy talking to you again. So, but that's gonna wrap up the episode. So for you guys listening, if you enjoyed the episode, please subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, subscribe to Devon Larratt's YouTube channel, follow him on social media, and I'm going to post those links on the episode, and that's it. We'll catch you guys with the next episode.